Clearly, there's a distinction, first of all, between the OII and the optional federal charter. It's the same as the distinction between cooperation and subjugation. The OII is a cooperative approach. The OFC would be much more of a regulatory approach, subjugating the states. Let me just go through the three components of the OII bill. First, information sharing between the states and the federal government on issues related to insurance. And we think that's a very good idea. Why wouldn't we want to cooperate? We have the largest repository of financial information on insurance companies in the world. Why wouldn't we want to cooperate with the federal government and make that enter into agreements so we can share that information? The second component relates to international matters, and that there needs to be more attention at the federal level related to the international business of insurance, and we would agree that also is important. It's just how do we get there? And then there is a limited preemption of state law where federal international insurance policy is implicated, and that's been the component of the OII that we are continuing to work with Congressman Ken Jorsky's staff, and I just want to commend his staff and their willingness to work with, I think, with all groups, but certainly they've been very willing to work with the NAIC on this. We were not there. We could not reach agreement on that last very important component, so the bill now has been held over until after the August recess. So anyway, we do think that the information sharing component of it is really important. The OII, though, it's not a regulatory presence. Again, it's a cooperative approach. It is not the same as what was proposed in the Treasury blueprint, which again, I would say the Treasury blueprint really had a bias towards the OFC. So what was proposed in the Treasury blueprint was, again, much more of a regulatory approach. The OII really builds on the state regulatory successes that we've enjoyed at the international level and gives the federal government a presence in those discussions between state regulators and our international counterparts. Several months ago, I was privileged to lead a delegation from the NAIC to China. And prior to meeting with the Chinese Insurance Regulatory Commission, we met with our trade representatives at the U.S. Embassy in Beijing, and I can tell you they were envious of the relationship that we have with our Chinese regulatory counterparts and the ability for us to be able to meet and have a dialogue with them. We want to build on those relationships. Again, I referred to it earlier as it's a level of trust because you're dealing with they're dealing with us as regulators, we're dealing with them as regulators, and they want to learn from us. We're in discussions now about bringing some of their high-level regulators to this country to meet with and work side by side with regulators in the various states. That's actually, that internship program is a program that has been ongoing now for a number of years, where we bring regulators from I think over 20 different foreign countries that have come and work side by side with regulators in this country. You know, 26 of the world's top 50 insurance markets are U.S. states. So when we're talking about having a dialogue with equals, some of our states have insurance markets that are larger than some of these foreign countries that we're talking about. We have the way we've approached it, because I would agree that states, we're not allowed by the Constitution to enter into any kind of a treaty with a foreign country, but we can enter into MOUs, Memoranda of Understanding, and we've done that with 9 countries plus regulators in 21 Latin American nations. We have MOUs with China, Korea, Brazil, Thailand, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Iraq, Egypt, Russia, and ASEAN, the Latin American countries. So our approach has been to work through the opportunities that we have with Memoranda of Understanding to set up those dialogues, to work with those regulators. The Chinese marketplace is a huge market for our companies in the U.S. Europe is a very competitive market. We want our companies to be able to compete in those environments, and we do think that these opportunities to meet on a kind of a face-to-face, I'm often kind of reminded of when we have opportunities like this of the native Kansan, President Eisenhower, who following World War II said, we can't afford to have another war like this. If people get to know each other on a personal basis, maybe we won't. And he established the people-to-people program. And in a sense, the kind of dialogues that we're having builds on that people-to-people approach. Individuals who are performing the same jobs in those countries that we perform in our states here in the U.S. We are very concerned about any preemption of state authority, as you might imagine, and so we will continue to work with Congressman Kanjorski and Congressman Barney Frank, who's the chairman of the parent committee, as we try to iron out the details. But we think there are many good elements of the OII that we want to continue to work on to make those necessary improvements. We're not going to sit back and say we've got it right, state regulation's the best, and can't be improved upon. We know there are ways that we can make improvements, and the sharing of information certainly is one, and finding the appropriate way to have our states interact in a way that is effective with countries around the world. I think we're doing that now. We just want to build on that.